And here we go live. Live once again on the Metal Voice. Our good friend Rick Hughes to the south of us. To the south of us. We're having you know how they say, better late than never. Better late than never. A little bit of computer issues, but we're good now. We're all good.
Bienvenue, Rick. Je suis the Metal Voice, the chanteur de Sword avec nous aujourd'hui, and we're anxious to hear your top 10 list.
Oh, yeah. My top 10 list. True.
Yeah. All right. So we were so busy trying to get you online, we completely forgot about the top 10 list. So here it is. Let me set this up. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 frontmen, not singers, frontmen in hard rock and heavy metal. And Rick is going to give us his list. We have absolutely no idea what this list is. It's going to be reaction. Me and Alan just going to be reacting. We're going to be reacting to what you're saying and commenting. But before that, Alan, tell them what's coming up with Sword.
Yeah, on the 13th of January at the Beanfield, almost a year to the day than when the Sword 3 album was released, and you played the Beanfield Blast. That'd be make a great Christmas gift for everybody. Get your Sword tickets. So, Rick, it's Sword, Anonymous, and who else is playing with you guys that night?
There's, of course, Anonymous, like you said, Sword, Vanta Black Worship, and Atomic Train.
Oh my gosh, 5.
It's going to be like an old school night. No. Yeah, old school night when Sword used to play at l'Auditorium de Verdun with Wasp and with Accept and with Metallica, and so it was an happening. You know, there was not only one band; we were like 4 or 5 bands, and it would start in the afternoon, and that would get people going.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. It's happening again. We'll say it January 13th. Go ahead, Alan. Go.
13th of January at the Beanfield in Montreal.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's right. There's not many tickets left. So if anybody that's interested in passing a good metal night on January the 13th, get your tickets, guys, because it will be played at guichet fermé.
Rick, en français pour nos amis francophones, just pitch it.
Oui, c'est ça. Ben, le 13 janvier à l'ancien Corona qui s'appelle maintenant le
Beanfield.
Le Beanfield Theater. Et puis, c'est le 13 janvier. Comme j'expliquais, il y a presque plus de billets. Donc, si vous voulez passer une belle soirée métal, hard rock, avec nous autres le 13 janvier, ne manquez pas votre chance parce qu'on va probablement être à guichet fermé le 13 janvier.
C'est un bon cadeau pour Noël, hein?
Oui.
Pour acheter des billets, oui.
Mais ou si jamais tu n'as pas eu un beau cadeau de Noël, dépêche-toi rendu au 2 janvier pour aller chercher un ticket et t'en payer un beau toi-même.
There's just a few Christmas days left.
They're going fast.
Me, I'm at the age where I don't get that much gift. I get to give gifts.
That's it. All right, good stuff.
I understand that for sure. Yeah.
I don't even get a tie. What the hell will I do with a tie anyway?
You get a lottery ticket. I love that when people give you a lottery ticket.
Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. That's what you get. Yeah.
All right, guys, let us begin. Let us begin.
Okay.
All right, number 10. I'm going to count them down. Look, I have to do it like this because I don't have any numbers. Yes,
before I start talking about my list, I have to put in context that your question was very, very narrow. Heavy metal, hard rock singer, frontman. Okay? So that excludes my number 1 pick would have been Elvis because listen, I can only speak for myself. I will not speak on behalf of a reader's poll from last year's so-and-so magazine and so. No. I can only speak for my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw with my own 2 eyes, what I experienced, and when I came across, you know when Sword was out and alive back in the 80s, we were signed with Aquarius Records which was a label owned by Donald K. Donald.
Right?
Yeah.
So we had access to all the tickets, because even when it was sold out, there were still some tickets reserved for companies, for special guests. So we had tickets to all the shows. I saw them all. I'm not kidding you guys.
Yeah.
I went to all the shows.
Mm-hmm.
Metal, non-metal. I mean, when it was interesting, I went. So anyway, so this being said, on my personal experience, my number 10 is David Coverdale.
Oh, yes.
That's my number 10.
So why would you pick David Coverdale? Why do you think he's such, and we're talking about more frontmen than singers, right? It's a combination, right?
Exactly. Because of the, first of all, just for the fact that when I saw him live a couple of times, last time I saw him was at Metropolis, which is now TELUS.
TELUS.
Yeah, that's the last time I saw Coverdale sing. That was way back, 2000, something like that. And he was still getting the notes, you know, and he was there. He was like, he owned the stage, and it wasn't happening, you know. Everybody was like waiting for him to come out, and once he came out, there was this thing about him that as soon as he opened his voice, it was distinct, you know. You would go, oh yeah, that's why Jimmy Page picked him.
You know,
I saw him open for the Scorpions, and Dawkins was part of that. I can't even remember, 15, 20 years ago, I can't remember, but he comes out to Coverdale and he starts with In the Still of the Night with that scream at the end. That's his opening song. It was just unbelievable. Like you said, he's a regal. He gives that regal presence, a true British gentleman, and what a voice and what a frontman. He keeps you really excited, and then he's exciting to watch too.
You know, I'm going to say this is the definition of a frontman: a person who represents, I guess, a group or works to make its image more appealing to the public. So, I mean, it could be a frontman in business, it could be a frontman in a band, but that's what he does. He's the charisma of the band, the image of the band, right? I think you said it before, like he owns the stage, right? There's something bigger than just a singer, right?
If you want to define the word charisma, you know, I mentioned Elvis earlier. This gonna sound like it's gonna sound like a joke, because it sure sounds funny, but it's the truth. Elvis, you remember when we saw him live in Hawaii, or the 1968 comeback special, when there was a guitar solo, he would point at the guitar player. You know why? Because he had so much charisma that even during solos, everybody was still looking at him. And he would go, look at him. He's doing the solo, not me.
That's true.
That is presence. That is the presence at its core, you know, where you have to point at the direction. Stop staring at me. I'm going to take a sip of water right now while this guy's doing this great solo.
You know, on the point of Elvis, I think he was the first real metalhead. He was,
Elvis influenced a lot of singers of my generation. Some won't mention it out of, I don't know for what reason, but I'm not that guy. You know, when I was a kid, he was on TV. My mom was his favorite singer. His music was good. His voice was perfect. I mean, I later on in life, you know, I find my way with a more rock sound than what he was doing, but still, this guy is the epitome of presence.
Yeah,
Elvis.
I agree. He doesn't even have to open his mouth.
And women,
that's good. It's a good number 10.
Thanks.
Just on Elvis, he would just walk on stage and girls would be screaming. He didn't even open his mouth yet, and women would be screaming. But David Coverdale, same thing. You know, women would throw clothes at him, or right? Him too. He walks on stage. He owns the stage. He hasn't even sung a word, and he already owns the stage.
That's because he wrote some great songs. So people are just anxious to hear him sing, Here I Go Again, Still at the Night, Is This Love, you know?
No.
All right, Crying in the Rain.
Crying in the Rain. Yep, yep.
Uh,
Here we go. Ready? Here it goes.
Yeah.
Here's the machine, the analog number machine. Number 9.
Okay. My number 9 frontman would be James Hetfield.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a different one, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, again, personal experience. I toured with Metallica. I played with them, not with them, but we were at the stadium to do the tailgate party this summer, and this guy live, man, he does more than just sing and play awesome guitar parts. He entertains the crowd while he does that. There's not a lot of singers that have that potential, that can. He's awesome, man. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. He sings the part. And don't be fooled. James Hetfield's voice and melodies and lyrics are 10 out of 10. This guy sings with so much passion that to keep his voice the way he kept it all this time, the more power to him, my friend. This guy's a real
I'm not
deal.
surprised he made your list. That's a good choice. Like you said, he's been doing it forever and doing it well, and he's a focal point when he's on stage. So,
and he loves the crowd, and you see it, the way he works the crowd, the way he talks to them. That's a front man, somebody that connects with the crowd. That's the number one thing that a front man should be sure that he does. It's connect with his crowd, and James Hetfield is a master at that.
I would agree with you. It's a good choice. I didn't think of it, but it's a great choice nevertheless. When I saw him with Metallica, you know what? Everybody's looking at James because there's he's funny, like you said. He's funny. He plays the song with such passion, right? He's on stage, and every second he's on stage, it's all about passion, and people feel that. They feel that with, what are we, like 40,000 people at the Olympic Stadium? I don't know how many people were there, 30, 40. They all felt that.
And let's not forget that the level of difficulty this guy is going through at every show, because everything seems so easy that we don't think about it. Metallica's music is very complex. It's not pop music. It's almost like metal is more
technical. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, general, it's more technical than pop music. Metal is closer to jazz than to pop. That's what I mean. So you got some you go into different riff during the same song, and he's got to sing over that and catch every melody, every lyric, and connect with the crowd. Hey, this guy he's the real deal.
Yeah, good choice.
Good choice. All right, here we go. Number 8.
Okay.
Number 8.
Yeah. My number 8 choice is Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good choice.
Brian Johnson is a legend. What he's done with Back in Black, when you're considering Bon Scott had just died, took him 6 months to get into the band, to write all the lyrics. Back in Black, which means it's a song about Bon Scott. The whole album is lyrically, is an homage to Bon Scott. So it was done with taste, style, and this album is so big. I mean, this guy with one album, he became a legend. And after that came For Those About to Rock. Oh, man, what an album, For Those About to Rock. I remember being at the Montreal Forum with the cannon. Shoot! I mean, the crowd was going crazy. This guy is not only a great frontman, he's a great human being.
Yeah.
Because of what I've just explained, the way he replaced Bon Scott. There's always at least 5-6 times a year somebody that asks the question that posts Brian Johnson or Bon Scott, and like 50% will hail Bon Scott while almost spewing on Brian Johnson, or vice versa, and I always, when I take time to write a comment, I say they were both good. Bon Scott was excellent the time he was alive, and he was with AC/DC. What he did was like perfect, and the same goes with Brian Johnson. There's no who's better. Is AC/DC better with Bon Scott or Brian Johnson? They're both fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
So, anyways, I haven't seen Brian Johnson a couple of times. He's in the list. It's an excellent frontman, and the songs he has to sing are very, 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 very tough to sing, and he nails it.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Two guys that I'm sure to take care of the fans. You can see Brian Johnson and the stuff he's written. Very self-deprecating sense of humor. And, Bond, his lyrics were just so hilarious. So, yeah, two good choices. Another good choice, Brian Johnson from AC/DC.
You know what? And he was never, what's amazing about him? He was never like this tall, like David Coverdale, you can see is a big man, right? He's a tall guy. Brian Johnson, all of AC/DC, they're little guys, right? But when they're on stage, they're the biggest human beings on the world, right? They just ooze, they just give so much charisma. And let me tell you, and you know this, Rick, to be at the level of AC/DC, that's pressure, man. And he comes on the stage, and it's like he does it so easily, right? Like there's no pressure at all. That's you singing in front of 20,000 people. That's pressure, man. That's pressure.
He's got the regular Joe stage persona that nobody can quite come close to. He's the regular Joe, and even when he's doing an interview, he's such a great frontman. I mean, this guy's a legend.
Great choice. All right, guys, ready for number 7? Let me just put the meter on.
Are you sure we're on number 7?
No, I'm not. I'm not really good at this.
Yeah.
Wait a second. And number 10 was, what was number 10? Coverdale.
Yeah, Coverdale. James Hetfield. Brian Johnson.
Right, number 7. See how it works?
Okay. Number 7, Rob Halford.
No, it's Rob Halford.
Rob Halford, man. Same for him. I saw Judas Priest like 5-6 times, Defender of the Faith, Screaming for Vengeance. I mean, we had tickets. Judas Priest was playing on it. It was the only metal band playing on the radio. Think about that. They were, breaking the law, and
living after
midnight. They were playing it on radio. This guy was metal god. Man, he had the moves on stage. The way he would move around, sometimes he looked like a robot. Sometimes he would all the high notes. We were waiting for him to get the high notes, and he would get them for us. And let's go back in the 80s or the early 90s. For a singer, it was much tougher than it is right now, because the technique as that involves so much. Now we have in here, for monitors. So when you do your stuff, if you're in here, you hear directly what you're doing. So it's easier than with
stage monitors.
As soon as you move just a little bit, if you go and you move, you don't hear it the same. So anyways, Rob Halford. And when I have to admit that the first time I saw him arrive on stage with a bike, I said to myself, next time I do FTW, I'm going to bring a bike on stage.
Rob Halford. Go ahead, Alan.
Halford back, there's really two Halfords, right? There's the ones from the 80s that was jumping around, dancing like he was in a discotheque. And now there's a Halford that's out there. I call him, the Liberace of heavy metal that moves like a robot, like you said. That's like Frankenstein with glitter and the studs. And so there's really two. But I remember him like you did, dancing and as if he was Freddie Mercury, and dancing in a disco club. And again, being a frontman, that's what you wanted. You wanted that link to the audience. So another great pick, and what a voice, and he can still sing.
And you know what, guys? Whenever you think of Judas Priest, or anybody in the world thinks of Judas Priest, the first picture that comes into your head is Rob, and of course the Sentinel or whatever what's that the eagle there that what's it called, Alan, the eagle on this Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah,
The Hellion.
The Hellion.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, Rob is that image though of Judas Priest. Everybody thinks of Rob Halford when they think of Judas Priest. That's the first thing that comes into your mind, right? So that's because he's got that big persona, you know, that big charisma, that big stage presence, and the big voice, of course.
And the songs, you know, the songs.
Of course, the songs.
Are so important. It's all about the music. You know, the front man will always be as good as his songs, you know?
Yep.
When you think about it. And when you said that there was like two Rob Halford, you know, I agree with you. There was the young Rob Halford and the old Rob Halford. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
You know, the joint, they get stiffer.
I'm sure.
So I used to tiptoe around the stage like a little ballerina. I don't anymore.
All right, here we go. Number six.
Number six, the one and only Alice Cooper.
Oh yeah, yes, fantastic choice.
Man, what a front man, Alice Cooper. He's one of my brother and I. He's one of our first hard rock metal love was Alice Cooper. When we were a kid, we'd line up at Sam the Record Man to get the new album. Elected, I wanna be elected. Yeah, man, we want you for president of the United States. Let's not forget that we toured with him. So I have to tell you the Alice Cooper story, because I'm sure you agree with me that he deserves to be the top 10 top front,
without a doubt.
So we're touring with Alice, you know, and my brother and I are big fans, and we've been we're at the fourth show, and we're friends with the staff, and we talk to the road manager, and we go, when can we see Alice? He says, listen, Alice is very mellow guy, so we're going to tell him you want to meet him, so we're going to set up a night. But listen, guys, everybody it's got to be straight. No beer, no cigarette, no joint, nothing. If you meet him so clean and sober. If not, you stay in the dressing room. He said, okay, man. So one night, you know, I think we were in Alberta. So at the Calgary Center. So they come to us. They said, guys, tonight, Alice is going to meet you guys. So we're like kids, man. That's back in '89. We were kids. So we do our show. We watch Alice's show. We watched all of his shows. It was so entertaining that after every show, after every Sword show, at least I would stay and watch Alice's performance, because all the songs were good. They were all hits. Yep. So they come to our dressing room. They go, okay, Alice's show is finished. You know, now we're waiting in the dressing room. They go, okay, it's time. Follow me. So we make it almost make a row. You know, we follow him like we're going to meet Alice Cooper for the first time in our life, and he likes us. You know, they've been telling us that he likes our show, our song, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they take us to the tour bus. So okay, just stay there. We're gonna come back. So we're like, what's the Three Stooges there? We're like outside of the bus, and we're like a poof. No, the guy comes back and whoo, everybody stays straight. You know, okay, now you're gonna go inside the bus. Nobody's got cigarette on them. No, he's almost like, you know, touching us. If we got hidden beer, said no, don't worry. We understand. We don't have anything. Everybody's straight, and we understand, you know, what it's all about. So I go, okay, perfect. So he opens the door. So we all walk in the tour bus. So it's like a living room in front, and there's a door, and that's where he sleeps, you know. So we're just waiting, and we're all watching the door, and we're almost like speaking like that, he's going to come out soon, So the door finally opens. Out comes Alice Cooper without the makeup, and just in his bait,
His bathrobe.
Bathrobe. Thank you so much. It comes up with his bathrobe. Hey guys, how are you going? And he takes our hand, and we're all kids, and we spend like 15, 20 minutes with him, and it was the best of times, man. The best of times.
Great front man. I mean, watching Welcome to My Nightmare when I was a kid as well. Huge fans from the mid-70s. Still to this day, I was listening to him this weekend, listening to Detroit Stories and the greatest hits. So you know what? If he was on my top 10 list, I think I'd put him even higher than 6. He's a great choice. I don't want to follow him in concert.
Rick,
$1 billion babies. The albums.
Rick, my cousin was older, probably even older than you, and he saw Alice Cooper back in the heyday, like the 70s we're talking about here. And I was a little kid, right? And you tell me the stories of cutting his head off, and he's like, blood everywhere, and I was like, ooh, like as a little kid, because I'm like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7. And it's amazing that, when my teenage years, I saw Alice Cooper and it was the same thing. And he's still doing it. He's still out on the road making records, touring. It's unbelievable. He's still going at 70, 75, 76? It's unbelievable.
But, that's the reason why he was not so high on the list, because I know I've seen the show like a couple of years ago, and it was the same show that back in '89. So although he's a great frontman, he's been doing like the same theatrical for so long that it takes away a little bit, of the originality of being a frontman, because being a good frontman is also being able to improvise on stage, not
That's
follow
true.
a script. A great frontman will improvise with the crowd and with the band and with whatever happened. In this case, it's the opposite of improvising. Everything is calculated and everything, So
it loses a little bit. It loses a little bit, you're saying, right?
Yeah, because I've been doing it for so long, but and I understand not changing it, because you don't change a winning formula. It's still good.
Yep. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. We're on one hand now. We had 2. Now we're on one hand. 5 left.
Okay, remember our first conversation? You wanted 5, and I said, "What? Let's do 10."
Oh yeah.
Now you understand why. Do you see all the 5 singers?
I see the errors of my way.
Huh?
Right.
I see my error. Yes. Go ahead.
There's a lot out there. Okay, my number 5 would be David Lee Roth.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say Sammy Hagar, but it's okay. David Lee Roth. I love it.
But why is he not? I mean, he's close. He's in the top 5. Because I'm talking about David Lee Roth back in the days,
Yeah.
Because right now, I like what he does. Everybody's getting older. Everybody changes. He's changed. He's not the front man that I used to idolize at back then, I remember saying to people when we would go see Van Halen with David Lee Roth, or David Lee Roth with Steve Vai, all the tours, we saw them all.
Yeah.
And I would say to people, I'd say, the thing about Van Halen, or the thing about David Lee Roth as a frontman, is that at that time when you would go see a show, if you'd go see, let's say, Maiden,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, some of the song you'd be like that, like, man, yeah, stick it to the man, or Judas Priest, but not David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth, you would have a smile on your face from beginning to the end.
100%.
The guy would make you laugh just prancing around like a little ballerina I was talking about, and doing is like is this thing, and talking to the crowd and pretending to drink whiskey out of whiskey, and everybody knew it was iced tea that was in it, because you wouldn't be able to do 2 nights by drinking whiskey all night. But
It's
man, this guy, first time I saw him live, I said to myself, my God, that's entertaining.
Did you pick up anything in your stage moves from him, Rick?
Come again?
Did you pick up anything that you incorporated in your stage moves from David Lee Roth?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Of course I did. Yeah. That thing about making people happy, making people smile. I love doing that when I'm show. You know, it's not all death and gloom, even if it's metal. I mean, you know, if you're a fan of metal and you're my age, then you're a fan of old school metal. And old school metal was not all death and gloom, you know. There was some song that would say to stick it to the man, but other song would talk about everyday life and everyday situation that we come across, you know.
and enjoying life and being happy and enjoying life and
Yes.
appreciating life, and that's important too.
Yes.
I agree
So
with you 100%, Rick. I saw David Lee Roth on the Eat 'Em and Smile, the Skyscrapers tour, and same thing. You had a smile on your face from the moment he got on. If he was riding a large inflatable microphone, or he had this big, huge styrofoam cowboy hat, or the boxing ring that comes out and he's boxing in a boxing room above at the top of the floor. I mean, it's just all stuff that makes you left there happy and say, "Wow, what a show!" The ultimate frontman, as far as I'm concerned.
When I saw him on Diver Down tour, he comes out with his acoustic guitar or electric guitar and he starts doing Ice Cream Man, but it's just him and the microphone.
I remember
and,
that.
And everybody's just looking at him like he's so captivating. He's half a singer, half a comedian, half an entertainer, a ringleader, maybe we'll call it. He has everything. He's the complete package, and he's just coming out there just playing guitar. And he doesn't play guitar well or anything. And he doesn't sing great, but you know what? There's something about him. There's the charisma, that character, the X factor.
I don't totally agree with the comment that he's not singing that great. I think he's a great singer, especially what he's done with Van Halen. I mean, all the songs, there's something about it. The scratchiness of his voice, the width of the lyrics, and I mean, can you think of anybody else than him to sing the first Van Halen album?
No.
Oh, that's right.
He was perfect. The voice was perfect. The scream and everything, man. He's quite a singer. He had so much charisma and so much attitude that we kind of forgot that the guy was a rock singer, and singing rock and roll ain't easy. It's never easy to sing rock and roll. Because it's a style that needs you to give a little more, to surpass yourself and to put yourself in jeopardy. Because when you sing a song like Panama, yeah, wow, and screaming, there's a risk that you can hurt your voice one night, and then for the next 10 shows, you're like, you're shot.
You're shot. That's over.
So no, he was at that time, he was quite a singer, Jimmy.
Well, I didn't mean it that way. I meant it that he could still, there's something about him, like the first thing people always say about him is like, he's not a great singer, but I agree with you.
I don't agree with that.
He's got so much good character, and the way he uses his voice does make him an excellent singer in another way. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's not Pavarotti. I'm not saying he's not Pavarotti. I'm just saying that he comes across like he's my favorite, like of the Van Halens.
And I know you didn't mean to, I know you didn't mean to be mean and
no. But I'm just trying to phrase it in a way where people will understand,
Yeah, and you're gonna the comparison. I'm gonna make a comparison, and you're gonna go, "Whoa, that's." But it's true. It's a bit like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was so good, songwriting, at dancing, at singing, that we kind of forgot that the guy had a hell of a voice.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
If you put a Michael Jackson tribute band, the guy's better sing. The guy that's gonna the Michael Jackson singing part, because the songs are really tough.
You know, it's amazing. You can have so many great singers, like technically amazing singers, but you don't know who they are. But when David Lee Roth sings, you know it's David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
He sounds original, and you know it's him right off the bat. Like you just know it's him. That's what sells. That's what people want. You know, they want to feel like they know the person, and he represents the band, and there's character and there's charisma, and it just, yeah. And his little speaking parts in the songs, right, Alan? Like, you know, the little breaks in the songs, you know, Unchained.
The line runs up the back of the stocking.
This guy's the real deal. This guy's the real deal.
He knows, you know, he knows how to write a song, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Yeah. Number four.
Yeah,
Number four would be Ronnie James Dio.
All right.
That's a front man. That's a front man right there, where you don't have to run around everywhere, and no, you just have to stand there and go, sing me a song, you're a singer, and everybody sits down and they listen to him, you know, with eyes, with fire in their eyes, and he's almost holding a sword in his hand, you know. And it's on, and then the band comes in, and he just backs up a little, and he comes in front. And the way he ran the stage, Ronnie James Dio, was almost like going to church.
Yeah,
this guy was amazing, man. He was
evangelical.
Like a preacher. He was like a preacher. Holy diver, you've been out too long in the midnight sea, and everybody would, wow, the voice would be everywhere in the Montreal Forum, and you'd see this guy on the middle of the stage, you know, just moving around, and that's presence to me right there. That's the sign of a great frontman, where you don't need to do the somersault and this and the jump and the no. Just do the singing part and be right on it, so that people are just enjoying themselves.
Okay.
Now, I'm a huge Ronnie James Dio fan, probably the greatest vocalist in metal. I've always loved him, but he always used to lose me live when he followed the bouncing Dio, you know, or the talking for 5 minutes introducing a song. That's where he would lose me. I've seen him a few times, but a voice, nobody beats Ronnie James Dio. So it's just that part of his performance for me was always something that I just, when he followed the bouncing Dio, that's like from Sing Along with Mitch from 1958 or something, where you follow the ball would follow the lyrics. You're like, yeah, boy, Dio's really old if he's bringing this up, you know. So we cringe a little whenever.
You know what?
Like, voice is second enough.
But I would say one thing. I agree with the little points you say, Alan. But I also would say that when he walks on stage, he doesn't even open his mouth yet. But people are just waiting for that.
Yeah, it's
voice
like going to
come
church,
out,
like
right?
Rick said. Yeah.
So, and I see what Rick's saying. He's sort of a different type of charisma, where he moves slow. He's not doing somersaults. He's not jumping off the amps. It's just his presence and that X factor of he's there and he's going to take care of you and you're going to have a great time. So there's a seriousness, a mysticism about him that's different than the happy-go-lucky David Lee Roth, right?
And again, I'm talking about my personal experience.
Yeah. It's all good.
As a singer, as a listener, as the public, what moved me the most, and Dio is right on.
And you know what he made? Just think about this, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. There was, the Beatles. There was John Lennon, and there was Geezer Butler. That was Geezer Butler. There's so many people who claim this, but you know what? He made this the symbol of heavy metal, right? Any show you go to, even when you go to Def Leppard, even when you go see, I don't know, Bruce Springsteen, people are doing this. And that's the presence of Ronnie James Dio right there. Yeah. He made that popular.
So just a quick question before we get to your last two picks there, Rick.
3.
Are these all frontmen that you have seen live?
Yeah. All of them.
Okay, good. All right.
Okay.
That's to each his own. When I was asked the question, I said to myself, okay, my personal experience, I have to for myself, not for other people. That's what I think. Yeah.
And you know what? We're going to go down to, are we at 3?
Yeah.
You want to do it? Look at this. We're at 3. That's magic, Al. That's magic. 3. Look at that. All right,
Number
go.
three.
Number 3.
Number 3 would be Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Charisma.
Mr. Crowley. Pow, pow, pow. And Ozzy would run around with his bucket of water. You know, he would finish the show. He was all wet, man. He gave everything, and everybody was like, Ozzy would come to town, man. The tickets would sell like in one day.
Yeah.
The forum was sold out.
There was something about Ozzy, man.
Something about Ozzy. Talking about X Factor.
Yeah.
And you know, he's there's post about his état d'âme these days where he says that he would love to make one more tour, you know, one more tour, and he's sad that he sees that he's probably won't be able to make one more tour. That shows you why we do it. It's the stage, you know. Yeah, it's fun to be in studio to create songs and all. This is perfect. But the stage, that's what makes us do it. It's the connection with the people, you know, that we're in the same room enjoying the same thing, all of us. What I'm doing with my microphone, the way I'm singing, you're liking it? Cool, because I'm sure having a good time too, you know?
Yeah.
So Ozzy, we had the chance to see him live more than a couple of times, and we're the lucky ones because there will never be another Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to catch him on the Bark at the Moon and the Ultimate Sin tours. You know, always clapping hands. Let's go crazy! And but again, the charisma, the power. Like you said, he would sell out everywhere, and even back in the day, he was considered one of the top frontmen throughout the '80s. So, and he just got more popular even going into the '90s. So,
guys, you know what's amazing? Like we're talking about Dio and we're talking about Ozzy. Everybody used to always say, you know, Dio is the voice, is not the front man, and then Ozzy's the showman, but he's not the singer. I think Ozzy is just as much as a singer as a showman. He's got a voice that it connects with everybody. Like men, women, young, old. He's got that special voice, that tone that everybody knows it's Ozzy. And he can sing. The guy can sing, you know, no question. He can sing.
Listen, I'm a professional singer. Everybody knows that. And he's my top 3. Ozzy Osbourne is an amazing singer. Amazing singer. That think about songs like Symptom of the Universe. They belong to you, man, that's something to sing. Imagine playing that with Sabbath, you know, and the song. No, Ozzy at the pipes, my friend, big time.
You know, you bring up a great point, Rick. You look at Sabbath. Tony wasn't moving. Geezer would walk up and down. You had the drummer who had to stay in place, but Ozzy was the focal point because he was the one really dealing with the crowd, moving, running around, trying to get the crowd all frenzied up. And I think that's why people loved him, carried over into his solo career. He was and everybody was looking at Ozzy and said, if he can do it, I can do it. Because he was just a man of the people. Like we were talking about Brian Johnson before. He's a man of the people, and people were attracted to Ozzy. And throughout the 70s, like you said, in the 80s, and then going into the 90s, and even having some of his longest shows ever in the 2000s, it's rarely you see somebody that's able to do that and have that connection with an audience. So,
you know, I would say one of the most imitated singers, Ozzy. When you listen to any doom band, they're trying to sound like Ozzy. The success of Sabbath and his solo career is definitely his voice. Yeah, his stage and his persona and his image, that plays a big role, but it's his voice. It's his voice at the end of the day. And of course, his image, right? The King of Darkness or whatever they call him, right? The Blizzard of Oz, you know, in that attic, right? The Diary of a Madman, you know, he's always the Bark at the Moon, right? He's always got this dark, but he's funny too. He's got a sense of humor. So
Again, we're talking frontmen, not necessarily the best singers, right? This is frontmen.
No, I get it. I'm just saying that not only is he a great frontman, but he's an incredible singer too. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, but and the point came about where you it was really good what you said about Dio and Ozzy, because they were in the same camp, for quite a while. So yeah, it's true what you just said, but that because of Dio being such a big voice, Ozzy was compared to him because they were both in Black Sabbath, but it's like Brian Johnson and Bon Scott.
Perfect. Yeah.
I cannot imagine a better singer for we sold our soul for rock and roll than Ozzy Osbourne.
That's right.
You would put Dio to sing all those songs, it wouldn't be that good that it is right now. Because at that time he had that high note Ozzy that he doesn't have anymore, but he had it at that time and it was doing the job.
But you see, like going back to this, people said Dio is the singer, Ozzy's the front man. But I think Ozzy is also the singer. And I also think, to what you said, Dio is also the front man. Like they both had it exactly how you said it, like Brian Johnson and Bon Scott. Two great singers, two great frontmen, but in different ways.
There's a lot out there rock singer that do a lot of stuff to be great frontman, and but they don't come close to any of the 10 that I've just named here, because sometimes it's not what you do, it's your presence, it's the song you've written and that you're about to render, that brings people to just focus on you, and then if you nail it, that's what makes you a part of the greatest ones.
Yep. All right. So here we go. Are we ready for this? Are we number 2?
Yeah.
Are we number 2? Rick, please confirm we're the number 2. I don't know. Are we?
Yes, we're number 2.
Let's do a little quick recap. Number 10 was David Coverdale. Number 9, do you remember?
Yeah. David Coverdale. Number 9 was James Hetfield.
James Hetfield. Brian Johnson,
Rob Halford, Alice Cooper, Ronnie James Dio, Ozzy. Wait, we forgot David Lee Roth. That was a number 5.
Okay, go.
No, we're on number
Dio, Ozzy, and now we're number 2.
Yeah, we're at number 2. Number 2 would be Bruce Dickinson.
Oh. I'm anxious to hear.
I thought you were going to say Paul Di'Anno. I love Paul Di'Anno. But
unbelievable.
Bruce Dickinson. I mean, come on. Paul Di'Anno, Bruce Dickinson. Why is Bruce Dickinson not at number 1? He's at number 2.
Because Paul Di'Anno's at number 1.
Because there's somebody at number 1, but he could be at number 1. Because let's talk about Bruce Dickinson here. This guy drives commercial airplanes where he sit on his butt doing nothing. He went through cancer and still sings. And last time I saw him live was one of the best shows I ever saw in my life. And I'm talking about 2019.
Yeah.
This guy's been doing the opposite of Alice Cooper. It's different shows every tour. And he's been on top of his game all the time. Bruce Dickinson is probably the best metal singer ever.
Et l'autre chose que j'aime beaucoup de Bruce, dans chaque ville qui se présente, il veut toujours parler un petit mot de monde devant lui. Donc, quand il vient au Québec, il parle toujours en français. Puis, dans l'Italie, il va dire des choses, des petits commentaires italiens. So, wherever Bruce goes, he always tries to speak the language of the country he's in. He moves around. A guy jumps and salts and somersaults and everything. I mean, he's all.
But Alan, you were at the speaking tour, right? When he did a speaking tour, he did what, like 15 minutes in French?
Gosh. Well, he married a woman from France, and he opened up the speaking tour talking about 15 minutes in French.
Yeah. And you know what? Let me tell you, he's also a novelist.
Yeah.
A screenwriter, because he wrote like a screenwriter. He wrote 2 or 3 books already, right? He wrote 2 or 3 novels, I believe. He's a fencer. He's a fencer. He's a businessman, and he invested in those big air balloon thingies. He's a commercial airline pilot, like you said. Of course, he's a singer. He's a solo artist, and of course, he's had, even before Iron Maiden, he was in Samson, which had a bit of success too. So this guy does it all, man. Did I forget something? Did
No,
I forget anything?
it's incredible. I mean, last Maiden show, I was flabbergasted. I mean, everything about him. Like you said, he didn't speak a word in English. All the show, all his interventions were in French. Toutes les fois qu'il s'adressait à la foule, il parlait en français. Toutes les fois. Ça m'a tellement surpris. J'ai fait, wow. Like you said, he does that. If he goes in Italy, if he goes to Greece, he learns the language. And I mean, that's a front man. That's total front man.
And that's why I can't wait to hear your number one, because if Bruce is coming in at number two, this is going to blow me away. Number one.
And also he's coined the phrase, scream for me Montreal, scream for me Italy, scream for me metal voice. He's coined that phrase. That's like historic. That's legendary.
Some on the Peace of Mind tour with those Marillion pants, and then somewhere in time with that whole outfit that was supposed to light up, and sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. And then, like Rick said, ever since, give me head to head till I'm dead tour, etc., etc. And he always puts on such a great show. Again,
all right.
Steve moves around, Dave a little less. But Bruce is really the focal point when you go to see an Iron Maiden concert.
Oh my God. Operatic voice. Not even like, we're not going to get into the voice, but he commands the crowd, right? He commands the crowd. Just like Sword. I am in command, right? They command. Pick this album up. There's a merch store for Sword before we get to number one. Sword merch. You can buy it here, right? Right, Rick?
Yeah, the merch. You just go Sword. Google search Sword Metalized, and you get on the store. Yeah.
There we go. And there's the T-shirt, right? The Metalized T-shirt. You can buy that. You can buy what Alan has, the Sword Live. And let's say one more.
Else, Rick, before we get to number one, anything else you want to promote? I wanted to
the show. Let's go back to the show.
Well, I'd like to wish anybody that's listening to us right now a very, very Merry Christmas and an Happy New Year. Take time to if you need rest, like get some rest. If you need love, get some love. If you need to apologize to somebody, because it's been waiting for too long, do it now. This is the time to be together. This is the time for celebrating and to be in peace with our world. If we cannot make global peace, we can at least make peace towards the one we love, and surround.
Wise words. All right. Before you reveal your number one, people who are watching, if you want to text your number one, who do you think your number one vocalist is? Frontman is. I'll read it out as Rick prepares to give us his number one. Where's the walnut? Okay. What is your number one?
I guess nobody's going to be surprised if I tell you my number one is Robert Plant.
There you go.
Yeah.
Listen, I met Robert Plant. I was doing a video in England. He was doing a video in the same place, and I went to him. He was on a payphone, and I waited till he ended, and I said, "Mr. Plant, can I talk to you for a minute?" He says, "Yes, of course." So I says, "I'm your biggest fan," and it was a place where you had to pass security because they were shooting videos. He was doing the video for the Tall Cool one.
Okay.
The song, the Tall Cool one.
Great song.
I was doing the videos for Stone Again and FTW. We shot that in England while we were there with Motorhead. So I met Robert Plant. So I went to him and I said, "Mr. Plant, I don't know how to say it." He says, "You can call me Robert." I says, "Oh, okay. I'm your biggest fan." I said, "I'm your biggest fan." So he heard my little accent. So I'm sure you noticed I have a little accent. So he noticed. He says, "Where are you from?" I says, I'm in a metal band from Montreal called Sword." And he answered to me, "Led Zeppelin was never heavy metal." That's what. Do you want to know what I said to him?
Yeah.
Because I had to say something, because he kind of put me in a corner, you know?
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Is that
okay? Listen to this, guys. This is a true story. I said to him, I beg to differ, sir, but to me, Communication Breakdown 1969 is the birth of heavy metal. And he went like this, touche. Like if he had a sword in his hand, and he went, touche.
What a story.
That's fucking amazing. Think about that.
Oh yeah, power chords screaming. I mean, Communication Breakdown is heavy metal. Like, what else can it be?
Let me explain why it's my number one frontman. When I was a kid, I had my dad's record collection my dad passed away. He was very young and tragically, you know. So he had some Zeppelin, some Elvis. He had some. So I would listen to Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2. And then that movie came out. The song remains the same. By that time, I was like a lost ship at sea, you know, with no fuel, nothing. You know, I was just going about, and I was about to sink at the bottom of the ocean because I was kind of lost without my dad, you know. So at 14 years old, I heard there was the movie. The song remains the same, playing somewhere. And I had $2 in my pocket, so I paid the $2. I went in, I saw the movie, the song remains the same, and it changed my life.
There you go.
Completely. The frontman that Robert Plant was on that when I watched that movie made me want to be a frontman. Good evening. This is a song of hope, you know. The way he would move, the way he would sing. So that's the reason why it's my number one. Now, if you ask me, what is the best concert that I ever saw in my whole life? And like I said earlier, during the 7 years I was with the Aquarius Record, we had access to all the tickets. And I bought a lot of tickets all my life. I went to see shows. Best show of my entire life was the Page Plant concert back in 97. Wow. 95, sorry, 95?
Mm-hmm.
That's the best show. I was front row, A26, with Dan Georgescu from Too Many Cooks.
Okay, yeah.
We were given the 2 tickets, A26, A27, by someone at Donna K. Donald's, because they phoned me on the day of the show, and I already had my tickets. You know, I was in the Reds. And they say, Rick, come by the office. We have a gift for you. I said, oh, and I was thinking it was something about Robert Plant, because Plant and Page were in town that night, you know. Yeah. So I jump in my car, go to the office. They give me an envelope. I open it. 826, 827. What? So Robert Plant was there. Jimmy Page was there. And I was front row. And behind me was the whole forum, full capacity. And they played all Zeppelin songs. And that's when I saw the best frontman of my life. Yeah. This guy was amazing on that tour. Robert Plant was the best. Not only didn't he, my expectations were high. Well, he took me higher than my expectations. Playing the harmonica, talking to the crowd, doing the songs, you know, entertaining, dancing, not dancing, playing the tambourine and presenting the orchestra. There was like the show that lasted 2 hours. There was a part of the Montreal Symphonical Orchestra, and there was a part of the Marrakesh Orchestra, and there was and he was presenting everyone, and always be humble about it, you know. They would have standing ovation that would last like 2, 3, 5 minutes, and always stay humble about it. To me, Robert Plant, all category, is the ultimate frontman that ever was.
Yeah. I mean, you know, just the look, right? You might have had Daltrey before him during the Tommy period, but Robert Plant, just his look defined what a frontman would be until today. He's still the model of what a frontman should look like, sound like, and act like on stage. Robert Plant is still that guy.
You know, he had it. He had it all. And you know what? Not only did he have it all, but he was diverse. You know, in the way he would play or perform, like you said. You know, he could play a folk song. He could scream communication breakdown. He could do a blues number. He can do everything. And you know what? To Alan's point, when you think of a frontman, that is Robert Plant is the standard that everybody else copied, right? Or tried to copy.
Try to achieve.
Or try to achieve. Yeah.
Just think when I think about the ultimate frontman that he is, the picture that comes to my mind is the famous picture where he's holding a cigarette, a bottle of beer, and dove.
A dove.
And the story about that picture is that the guy, the lucky photograph that took that shot, okay, is that during a song they would release doves so people would see them fly behind the stage. And Robert, having the charisma that he has and the presence that he had, a bird came and landed in his hand. This tells you how far and how powerful his presence is. This bird could have landed anywhere. He landed in his hand. You see the smirk on his face. He's going, look at that. You know, you know that picture I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I know exactly.
The moment you said Robert Plant, that's the image I had in my head. That exact picture. That's how iconic it is.
What are the odds, man? The guy that took that shot is famous for that shot. That's for sure.
Iconic picture.
Oh yeah. It does it all. I mean, when a bird is not afraid of you, imagine the crowd. You know, I've always said, if you want to make a good show, make sure you're not stressed when you go on stage. You know, why? Because you're gonna stress the audience. Make sure you're not lazy when you go on stage. Yeah. Why? Because the crowd's gonna become lazy if you're lazy.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So Robert Plant, when he comes on stage, all the show that I saw was always an humble being. He would come on stage, people, like you said, not a word sang, and everybody was up on their feet going, yay, he's there. You know, just a presence.
You know, it even goes further than that. It's integrity. Because as soon as John Bonham died in like 1980, he goes, that's it. There's no more Led Zeppelin. We're not going to go out and keep touring with another drummer. That's Led Zeppelin. He would not go out. And even when he toured with his first solo album at 11, was it?
Pictures at 11?
Pictures at 11 and the one after that. He wouldn't play any Led Zeppelin songs. Integrity. And he always said, I can't sing the way I did in my 20s. I'm not going to go out there and just not perform at 100%. And when he came back in 2007 for that charity that they came out, and the one performance or two performances with Led Zeppelin, with Jason Bonham on drums, he nailed it. At 60 years old, I guess he was at the time, maybe 58. He nailed it. But that's it. It's over. And I know Jimmy Page always wanted him to go out, and I know John Paul Jones wanted Plant to go out, but he wanted to keep the legacy and the integrity of what Led Zeppelin was. You can't top the top, right? So that's what I always loved about Robert Plant. He went out, he did his thing, and he didn't keep touring and then start playing clubs and his note, then pretend like he's singing and his voice is not as good. We always will remember him as the greatest frontman and singer.
And personally, you know, from what I read and from what I sense, I think that another reason why he didn't touch the Zeppelin material when he was doing his solo thing was out of respect to Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy Page I'm sure Jimmy Page would have never stopped doing music with Robert Plant, you know?
That's right.
He had to do it to make a break because, like you said, his best buddy, John Bonham, had died. So for him, there was no more Zeppelin. So like they kind of did some stuff together after that, but it was never Zeppelin stuff.
Nope.
And the Honey Drippers, he plays on the Honey
Yeah.
Great
That was
album.
cover songs. That was all cover songs, though.
Yeah. So personally, I think it's out of respect to Jimmy Page that he never did it. And the proof is that when he did Page Plant, that's when he did the Zeppelin stuff. You know.
But they didn't call themselves Led Zeppelin. That's where I'm getting at. He
Yeah,
went out as Page Plant, and that was very. That's just another dimension of his character, his person, integrity.
Because he knows that without Jimmy Page, he would have never became the rock god legend that he became. It's without Jimmy Page, Robert Plant would have never have become the rock god that we know. Jimmy Page wrote the music to Heartbreaker, to Communication Breakdown, to Stairway to Heaven, to In My Time of Dying, to, you know what I'm saying, where I'm going with that? He's the guy that gave him all that great music so his voice would be so uplifting.
Yeah. You know what, Rick? I got to say, that was a wonderful top
Great
10
list.
list. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
So
Good job. You did your homework. You get an A. I'm going to give you a little sticker next time I see you.
I didn't get the memo, Jim, about the frontman. It had to be a singer or anything, but I mean, Rick covered so much great. If I limit it to people that I've seen, I think Lemmy has to be there. Talking about charisma. Phil Lynott, I've never seen, but he was another great frontman. But for me, Hugh Dillon with the Headstones, you can't keep your eyes off that guy. He's not in the same category as these guys, but you're talking about charisma. But for me, the greatest frontman of all is this guy right behind me.
Yeah.
He's not a singer, but you cannot say that this guy is not the greatest performer in hard rock and metal ever. Angus Young. Talk about a guy that you can't keep your eyes off of.
And I agree with you about Lemmy. Lemmy should have made that list. The reason he didn't make it is because of his instrument. Like a bit like Geddy Lee. Geddy Lee is a great frontman, but I mean because he's so good musically, doing the bass, doing the keyboard, doing the singing, he's stuck on his mic throughout all the show. So it makes for a good show because it's entertaining to see somebody that talented. Same goes with Lemmy. Lemmy was doing that bass, man. He would sound like two guitars, and he would sing, and what he sang was stuff to sing, and he did it every night. We toured with him. We saw him do it. But
there's a few people in the chat. People mentioned Dee Snider, another great frontman, right? I mean, you can't deny it. This guy's like a guy. A force to be reckoned with on stage.
Absolutely. Great songwriter, great person, and everything. I mean, an interview with Dee Snider is always something refreshing to see.
Yeah. The guy, 1983 hit parade.
Oh, yes. Let's see.
Slickest dude in rock. So we apologize for not having any women on our list, but slickest dude, whatever that means, coming in at number one back in December of 83. December 1983. Who do you think came in at number one as the slickest dude in rock with 25% of the votes?
83, right?
83.
I'd
say David Lee Roth.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah, I would say David Lee Roth too.
With 25% of the votes. Now, for the rest, just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, okay? Ozzy Osbourne came in second, so that made Rick's list. Joe Elliott, 83 was the year of Def Leppard. They won everything. Guitarist, K.K. Downing.
Oh.
Number 4. Wow. Billy Squire, number 5.
Oh.
Robert Plant, number 6. Bruce Dickinson came in at 7. Rick Emmett at 8.
Oh, nice.
Sammy Hagar at number 9.
Let me tell you, what the hell's going on here?
Let me tell you, I've seen Sammy perform a few times, and I'm a huge David Lee Roth fan. Sammy wiped the stage with David Lee Roth.
Oh, don't say these things. Don't say these things. Don't say these things.
Joe Turner from Rainbow at 10. Rob Halford at 11. Robin Zander, Chief Trick at 12. Steven Tyler at 13.
Steven Tyler's
Mike Reno from Loverboy at 14, and Steve Perry from Journey coming in at 15. That's 1983. Top slickest dudes, whatever that means.
KK Downing made the list. Slickest dudes. Look at
Number
that.
4.
I'm
I
so
guess-
happy that David Lee Roth was number 1 because I sense it. When you said 83, I said to myself, that's when everybody was saying there's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah. Rick, it's been a pleasure. Always a
Thank
pleasure. You know what? I'll say it one more time. So on January 13th at Beanfield, which is the old Corona, which is in Montreal, for those of you who are not from Montreal. You know, if you're in Ottawa, come on down. If you're in Toronto, come on down. If you're in Quebec City, come on down. It's going to be Sword, Anonymous, which is a thrash metal band, right? You know them. You've played with them, right?
Great band. Yep.
Van to Black Worship. You know, another thrash band. A great band too.
They're sounding amazing.
Atomic Train, which I've never heard, but maybe you could tell us what kind of music they play.
A friend of mine is the singer. The singer his name is François Babin.
Okay.
Maybe that's gonna ring a bell. He was part of the Star Academy first season, the very first season, when it came out on TV there in French here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? This is everybody's Christmas present. You know, for a loved one, pick up a Sword shirt. You know, pick up I don't know, a CD. There you go. Or you know what? Buy tickets to the show on the 13th of January if you're close by. Or maybe, you know what? If you're in the other side of the world, come on by anyways. What the
There
heck?
you go. Exactly.
All right, Rick. It's been a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for everything and the great list.
Rick Hughes a été confrère dans Sword, and hopefully it'll be a great show, a sellout, like you said, and a lot of success and a lot of good luck in 2024, Rick.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm sending all the best wishes to you and anybody that's listening right now. Best wishes for the new year and for the holidays.